I'm gonna be changing the tuning on this Ibanez RG 550. So this is standard tuning. So an E is an E, an A is an A, D, G, B, and E. And I've always played a half step down. You know, Eddie Van Halen always played half step down and the band would tune to him. I didn't do it because of that reason. I would just do it. I like half step down more. Then years later I discovered that Eddie did the same. With a Floyd Rose, a locking, those of you who don't know what a Floyd Rose is, like a Fender guitar or anything without a locking system, like your standard guitar, like an acoustic guitar even, you can just tune it. You can't do that because they are locked down by these screws right here. And then they're locked down at the bridge right here. The strings, they will lock down here. You cut off the end of the string with the little ball at the end, you slide it in there, and then you screw it in there and it pushes forward and it locks the string in. Most of you guys know that. So what I'm gonna do to get this half step down, this bridge floats. A floating bridge. All right. What keeps it floating? There's springs on the back pulling the bridge forward, backwards, right? And you can adjust those springs to be further back or further up on the bridge. Now, these strings are pulling the bridge forward. All right. So think of it as like 6 people pulling a rope. Each of them have a rope and they're pulling, causing this bridge to go forward, okay? The difference between the springs on the back of the guitar and these strings pulling it forward causes it to float. All right? Now, if one string, in simplicity terms, if one string breaks, the whole guitar is completely out of tune, because think of it like 1/6 of the tension is gone. I mean, there's more than that because each string is a different thickness, but just think of it like that way. If you cut all these strings, this bridge is going to go completely flat because there's nothing pulling it forward. So when I'm tuning this, I could unlock the strings above and tune it half step down one at a time. But if you want to replace all your strings, how do you get this thing to float? How do you get it to float up if all these strings are gone and then this collapses inside the body? Well, get yourself a shim. I've had this since I was 15. And it's just perfect. You can use anything. Basically, all you do is put it underneath like that and it holds your bridge up. And then you cut your strings. You can adjust it however you want. Pull it back more or push it way underneath there to raise it up just a bit more. So if I take this out now, that's perfect. So this is the shim I've used. It's worked perfectly for me. You could use anything. I don't know. I just keep it around because I've had it for so many years. Just a piece of wood trim. Put this underneath here so it's floating. Clip all your strings. Restring it, and I would tune it then to be a little sharp, or a little flat, because then after you tune it and you lock these down and you remove this, that bridge is going to go back a little bit, making it sharp. So if you tune it just a little flat and you make it, then you remove this, it's going to make everything a little bit sharp. Okay. All I'm going to do is unlock one string at a time and tune it down. That way 5 strings are keeping the tension. I have a link to this in the video description. This is great, this little tuner. So that's a little flatter than an E. So what I'm going to do, I want this whole guitar to be a half step down. So it has to be an E flat. I'm going to unlock this screw. Now I can... Did you hear that? That was a German Shepherd falling asleep. Now that it's unlocked, I can loosen the string this way. D sharp. So I always like to loosen it more than what I need. So then I tune it up so it takes up the slack in the string. So D, I want D sharp. Okay, it's not completely in the center, so it's a flat D sharp, but a little flat. That's what I want. And I want A flat, G sharp, slightly flat. I'll torque these guys down. When you tighten this nut, it makes it go a little sharp. Okay, let's see what it is now. It's still a little flat, but I got the fine tuners here. This should be C sharp. It's a D. Very good, but I want it C sharp. I'll go all the way to C. And then tune it back up. Alright, good. Remember, a little below, a little flat beneath what I want. It was a D, I want a C sharp, half step down, so I'm tuning it to be just a little flatter because when I tighten this up, it's going to raise the string a little bit to make it sharp, and then I'll show you the fine tuning when I'm done. That's good. Now this next one, pull up on the string a little bit. This is G. I want it to be F sharp. Bring it down to F, then raise it to F sharp. A little flat, remember. Let's see if the other one stayed. Good. Those look good. So I'm gonna tighten it down. And I'll check it again. Should be C sharp in the middle. Yeah, bingo. I'm gonna unlock this last one so I can lower these two strings. So this is a B. I want it to be A sharp, half step down. Bring it down to A or whatever, and I'll raise it to A sharp. Doesn't take much on these little strings. Now that everything's locked, let me see how the first string is, if it's still like a D sharp. It's a little too sharp, see? I'll unlock those, just lower them a bit. Maybe I can just pull on the string and that should be good enough. It helped a little. Alright, I think that's close enough. So once you have everything tuned and you lock them down, they're going to be slightly out of tune. So then what you have to do is tune them with the fine tuners here. That's D sharp, slightly sharp. So I'll tune it down. Pull on the string a little bit. Perfect D sharp. Perfect G sharp. All right. All right.